July 17th, 1981. A crowded luxury hotel lobby instantly transforms into a war zone. Two massive steel and concrete skywalks suspended from the ceiling snap and plunge into the crowd below, all because of a single, undetected arithmetic error and a catastrophic design flaw. This wasn't a natural disaster. This was pure human error. 114 people lost their lives in a matter of seconds, marking the beginning of our countdown into the 10 worst engineering blunders in history. This is the minute-by-minute anatomy of hubris, corner cutting, and calculation errors that changed the laws of structural physics forever. This is the 10 worst engineering mistakes. Number 10, the Hyatt Regency. The Hyatt Regency in Kansas City features a breathtaking open atrium. On this night, over 1,500 people packed the lobby for a popular twilight tea dance, with hundreds of spectators swarming suspended observation decks above. But a deadly change had been made during manufacturing. To simplify assembly, the steel hanger rods supporting the walkways were split into two sets. Without realizing it, the fabricators shifted the entire weight of the lower deck directly onto the upper deck's connections, instantly doubling the stress on the upper ones. The connection was a ticking time bomb, barely able to hold the weight of the concrete itself, let alone a cheering crowd. At 7:05 p.m., a sharp metallic pop echoed through the room. The box girder supporting the fourth floor walk splits in half, the nuts pulling completely from the support beams. The fourth floor walkway drops instantly, flattening the second floor deck directly beneath it, before both 60-ton structures crash into the crowded lobby floor. A tiny, unverified blueprint modification ended over 100 lives, proving that the deadliest weapon in engineering is an oversight on a piece of paper. Number 9, Tacoma Narrows. July 1940. The state of Washington opens the Tacoma Narrows Bridge, a breathtaking, ultra-sleek suspension span stretching over half a mile. Planners hail it as a triumph of modern aesthetics, an architectural masterpiece. But from day one, workers notice a terrifying behavior. Even mild winds cause the entire concrete roadway to bounce and bounce vertically up to several feet. Construction crews nickname it Galloping Gertie, treating the terrifying motion like an amusement park ride. The mistake lay in an aggressive cost-cutting design change. To save money and look more modern, engineers replaced open steel latticework trusses with shallow, solid steel plate girders. Wind couldn't pass through the bridge. It slammed directly into it, acting like a giant sail. On November 7th, 1940, 40-mile-per-hour winds trigger a fatal physical phenomenon known as aeroelastic flutter. The vertical bouncing transforms into a violent 45-degree twisting motion. The concrete highway behaves like a ribbon, literally tearing itself to pieces. The center span collapses completely into the water below. Gertie was destroyed just 4 months after opening, leaving engineers with a permanent, multi-million-dollar lesson that a bridge can be built to support millions of tons of weight, but still be destroyed by a breeze if it ignores the invisible laws of the wind. Number 8, the Millennium Tower, 2009. San Francisco debuts the Millennium Tower, a striking 58-story blue glass luxury skyscraper. Condos sell for millions, drawing in tech executives, celebrities, and elite investors looking for the absolute pinnacle of prestige and luxury real estate. But deep beneath the luxury lobby lies an unpardonable engineering shortcut. To slash construction costs, project planners opted for a concrete friction slab foundation anchored only 80 feet deep in soft mud and sand, completely failing to drill down 200 feet to ensure the building was resting in deep, solid bedrock. The earth couldn't support the weight. By 2016, engineers discovered a terrifying truth. The multi-million-dollar tower wasn't just settling. It had sunk 16 inches into the mud and was tilting aggressively to the northwest, creating an unstable, leaning monument of luxury. Sidewalks around the building began to crack and buckle. Utility lines sheared apart, and terrified residents watched golf balls roll across flat living room floors. The media instantly rebranded the ultra-luxury Sky Palace with a humiliating new title, the Leaning Tower of San Francisco. Fixing the blunder required a grueling $100 million rescue mission to manually drive steel piles all the way down to the bedrock. The tower stands as a multi-million-dollar warning that no matter how advanced, beautiful, or luxurious a structure appears on the outside, it is completely worthless if you compromise on the hidden dirt beneath it. Number 7. Kansai Airport. 1994. Japan opens Kansai International Airport, a multi-billion-dollar marvel built entirely on a colossal, man-made island out in Osaka Bay. Spanning over 2 miles long, it is hailed as history's most ambitious engineering project. But engineers made a monumental miscalculation regarding the weight of the island itself. The seabed beneath the airport wasn't solid rock. It was an ancient, spongy layer of clay. The weight of millions of tons of rock and soil crushed the seabed, squeezing the water out of the soft, waterlogged mud. Planners estimated the island would settle safely over several decades. Instead, it sank like a stone. In just a few years, parts of the massive airport had plummeted over 30 feet into the ocean, sinking several times faster than anyone predicted. To save the multi-billion-dollar terminal, engineers turned the basement columns into thousands of giant hydraulic jacks to manually lift the building as the ground sank. But nature struck back. In 2018, a massive typhoon overrode the defensive seawalls, completely flooding the runways. The airport survived, but requires an endless, multi-million-dollar maintenance cycle just to stay afloat. Kansai stands as a permanent monument to human ambition, proving that when you build an empire on a foundation of mud, the ocean will keep sending you the bill forever. Number 6. Lake Peigneur. November 20th, 1880. Lake Peigneur in Louisiana is a peaceful, shallow 11-foot freshwater lake. But deep beneath the tranquil water lies a highly dangerous convergence, an active oil drilling platform on the surface and a massive salt mine directly below. Due to a simple navigation error, the oil rig miscalculates its position on the map. As their heavy 14-inch drill bit grinds into the lake bed, it doesn't hit oil. Instead, it punches directly into one of the giant underground salt caverns, breaking the barrier between water and salt. What follows defies belief. Lake water rushes into the hole, rapidly dissolving the salt support columns and causing the entire underground structure to collapse. The tiny puncture hole instantly turns into a massive, expanding reverse drain, creating a giant, roaring whirlpool. The vortex grows so powerful it reverses the flow of a nearby canal, pulling ocean water backward into the lake. The banks erode instantly, swallowing a fishing dock, a home, 60 acres of land, and 11 fully loaded barges, pulling them down into the dark abyss. Miraculously, all 55 miners and the rig workers escaped before the final collapse. But Lake Peigneur was permanently altered from a shallow freshwater oasis into a deep saltwater bay. It stands as a chilling testament to the butterfly effect in engineering, proving that a misplaced decimal point on the surface can swallow an entire landscape. Number 5. The de Havilland Comet. 1952, Great Britain introduces the de Havilland Comet, the world's very first commercial passenger jet. It flies twice as high as traditional propeller planes, cruising above the weather in a pressurized cabin. It is hailed as the crown jewel of aviation. But engineers inadvertently designed a flying pressure cooker. To give passengers a classic look, they designed the cabin with large, sharp, square windows. They completely failed to realize that every time the plane pressurized, immense physical stress concentrated directly onto the sharp corners of those windows, a silent, microscopic death sentence. The metal couldn't handle the strain. After a few hundred flights, microscopic fatigue cracks snaked outward from window corners. In 1954, 2 separate comets cruising at 30,000 feet suddenly and inexplicably ruptured like popping balloons, instantly disintegrating into the ocean below. To find the killer, investigators built a massive water tank and submerged an entire Comet fuselage inside it, repeatedly forcing water pressure in and out to simulate years of flights. After months of testing, the metal corner finally snapped, revealing the catastrophic design flaw. The disaster forced an absolute rebuild of aviation physics. From that day forward, every commercial airplane in the world was strictly mandated to feature oval windows, ensuring stress flows smoothly around the frame. The Comet stands as a tragic reminder that in engineering, even the most beautiful aesthetic choices must bow to the unyielding laws of physical stress. Number 4. The Vagent Dam. 1960, deep in the Italian Alps, engineers unveil the Vagent Dam, a soaring 260-meter concrete arch blocking a massive glacial reservoir. It is a stunning triumph of hydraulic engineering, hailed as history's most invincible structure. But the engineers built their invincible wall on a foundation of dynamic ruin. They completely ignored warnings that the reservoir's water was soaking into the clay layers of the adjacent mountaintop. The entire mountainside began creeping downward, sliding an inch a day toward the water, a ticking geologic time bomb. On the night of October 9th, 1963, the mountain finally gives way. An entire forest containing nearly 300 million cubic meters of rock and earth collapses simultaneously, hurtling down the slope at crushing speeds and crashing into the deep reservoir. The displacement creates an unprecedented disaster, a monstrous 250-meter high inland mega tsunami. The wave easily tops the dam, blasting over the concrete lip and dropping millions of tons of water directly into the sleeping valley below, wiping 5 historic villages off the map in less than 15 minutes. Incredibly, the dam itself survived the impact with almost zero structural damage, but over 2,000 people in the valley were dead. Vagent stands as a chilling monument of architectural hubris, proving that a structure can be built to withstand the pressure of 1 million tons of water, but still be transformed into a weapon of mass destruction if you ignore the earth around it. Number 3. The Sampoong Department Store. 1989. Seoul, South Korea debuts the Sampoong Department Store, a massive, ultra-luxury shopping complex wrapped in bright pink glass. Welcoming over 40,000 shoppers a day, it stands as a sparkling monument to modern consumerism and economic power. But beneath the glitz lay a fatal web of corruption and corner cutting. To install escalators and a 5th-floor traditional restaurant layout with heavy underfloor heating, executives fired the original contractors and forced their own workers to slash the thickness of the support columns by 25%, cutting out critical structural support. The building couldn't handle the strain. On June 29, 1995, massive cracks rip across the 5th-floor roof as the building's heavy air conditioning units begin sinking through the ceiling. Rather than evacuating the thousands of shoppers inside, executives choose to protect their daily profits, leaving the store open for business. At 5:52 p.m., a critical column snaps. In less than 20 seconds, the entire south wing of the massive 5-story building collapses like a house of cards, pancaking straight down into the basement levels and trapping thousands inside a concrete tomb. The disaster claimed 502 lives, prompting a massive nationwide investigation that exposed rampant regulatory bribery. Sampoong remains a dark warning that the deadliest threat to architectural physics isn't a lack of engineering knowledge. It is the unyielding weight of corporate greed. Number 2. The Surfside Condo Collapse. 1981. On the sun-drenched coast of Miami, builders unveil Champlain Tower South, a 12-story oceanfront condominium complex. Boasting pristine ocean views and a sprawling pool deck, it is marketed as the pinnacle of coastal luxury. But invisible rot was engineered into the foundation. To maximize space, the pool deck was built perfectly flat with zero slope, causing decades of saltwater rain and pool runoff to sit stagnant on the concrete. The water soaked through the failed waterproofing layer, attacking the internal steel rebar and causing it to rust, bubble, and expand, cracking the concrete from within. The structural spine was entirely eaten away. For 40 years, the building silently gave way, ignored by building boards who delayed critical repairs due to multi-million-dollar price tags. On June 24th, 2021, at 1:25 a.m., the pool deck floor suddenly caves into the garage below, snapping the lower support columns while the residents were sound asleep. 7 seconds later, without a column left to support it, the entire center section of the 12-story tower shears straight down. The building drops vertically in midair, its concrete floors pancaking into a mountain of rubble in less than 12 seconds. The disaster cost 98 lives, triggering an emergency reassessment of aging coastal infrastructure worldwide. Surfside stands as a haunting proof that when building against the sea, a minor mistake in water drainage isn't just a maintenance issue. It is a slow-motion structural execution. Number 1. The Hindenburg Disaster. May 1937. The German airship Hindenburg glides majestically through the skies above New Jersey. Stretching over 800 feet long, this floating silver titan is the largest aircraft ever built, hailed as the absolute peak of human travel. But engineers had built a flying bomb. Because the United States banned the export of non-flammable helium, Germany filled the ship's massive internal gas cells with 7 million cubic feet of highly flammable hydrogen. Worse, they coated the exterior fabric skin with a reflective paint mixture containing aluminum flake and iron oxide, chemically identical to rocket fuel, creating a volatile, explosive trap. As the Hindenburg moves to dock during a sudden electrical storm, a phenomenon known as static electricity builds up across the ungrounded fabric skin. When the landing lines touch the damp soil, the ship grounds instantly, creating a silent spark that ignites a leaking hydrogen cell, waiting for the perfect conductor. In an instant, the sky explodes. The rocket fuel skin burns fiercely while the hydrogen inside detonates, turning the luxury liner into a blinding inferno. The massive aluminum framework twists and buckles under the extreme heat, crashing to the earth in just 34 seconds. The disaster claimed 36 lives and instantly brought the golden age of airships to a permanent end. The Hindenburg stands as the ultimate warning in modern history, proving that when engineering compromises safety for political pride or chemical shortcuts, the laws of physics will burn down your empire in a matter of seconds.